It's really easy to lose your cool when you're lost and alone in a survival situation. In the movie After Earth, starring Jaden Smith and Will Smith, Cypher Rage reminds his son, Katai, to take a knee. Katai learns quickly to calm down, pace himself, and conserve his energy for when he'll really need it. Because panic in a survival situation is your worst enemy. The problem with panic is that it comes up on you very fast, and it's all-consuming. You get this feeling like some kind of monster's on your back, and then sooner or later, you just wind up making it worse for yourself. And then everywhere that once looked like a shortcut to safety just looks intimidating. That's when you've got to stop. Calm down and assess your situation. Best way to avoid panic is to get a base of knowledge. And the way I can do that is to try and just become comfortable, relax, and do what I call my zone of assessment check. I want to assess my situation, I want to assess myself and everything around me. That'll give me knowledge, and I can make a proactive decision based on that. Zone number 1 is my body. I want to figure out, am I injured? What am I wearing? I know I've got some good hiking boots. I can do some hiking if I need to. I know I've got a good knife. I've got a flint striker, so I can make a fire if I need to in my pocket. Got some plastic. This might have been something I picked up along the way. It's always good to scavenge while you're traveling in a survival situation. Zone number 2 is what is around me? What's easily at hand? Well, for starters, got this backpack. Inside the backpack, got some water and a plastic receptacle if I need it. Looks like I've got towel, some shoelaces, a t-shirt, good little set of supplies. I also look around. There's shade over here. I can duck in there and hide from the sun. There's a little bit of a babbling brook over there. Maybe the water's safe to drink, maybe it isn't. It's a good place to look for food as well. That just leaves me with zone number 3. What's further beyond? There's a mountain up this way. Now, there could be a road over this way. I might remember it from reading a map. Maybe a cabin over that way. Maybe somebody told me about. Maybe there's a swamp in behind me. But either way, zone number 3 is what's further afield. I've now given myself a ton of information I can use to make good decisions, and I bring the panic level down. That's why it's so important to remember to take a knee and look at my situation. My sweating's just about stopped, my breathing's slowed down, my heart rate has even slowed. And now I have all this knowledge based on assessing zone number 1, zone number 2, my immediate surroundings, and zone number 3, what's further afield. In the movie After Earth, Katai Rage, played by Jaden Smith, has to navigate across a planet that freezes over every single night. If you've got to deal with the cold and be on the move, it's important that you don't let yourself get sweaty. Just remember, you sweat, you die. Because sooner or later, that day is going to come to an end. The sun's going to set, and it's going to cool down. And now all that sweat starts to evaporate at your body and makes you get very, very cold. When hypothermia kicks in, your blood starts to leave all of your extremities to try to protect your core vital organs and keep you warm that way. You can lose the use of your hands, your fingers, even your legs. What you can do, though, is get a fire going. Whether you've got matches or a lighter, butane, gasoline, I don't really care. Whatever it takes, get a fire going and get warm. Sometimes, all you need is a plant and a spark. You take a plant like this, it's nice and fluffy, and that's a big thing in survival. It doesn't matter what the name of this plant is. What matters is a characteristic. The reality is that all around the world there's fluffy plants. And here's what happens when you shoot a spark into a fluffy plant. Bring in a few other dried grasses around it. If you can get a fire going, you can stave off hypothermia. All right, now it's time to make a shelter. You can make all kinds of elaborate shelters using branches, rocks. Sometimes all you really need is a big pile of leaves. All right. That should just about do it. Leaves are actually fantastic insulators. If I had to, I was on the move, I can stuff my clothing full of leaves and make myself sort of like a big parka. All I really want to do tonight, though, is not freeze. So I'm just gonna crawl in here, kind of like a worm, caterpillar. Bring all of this around. All right. That should get me through the night. That's fire, shelter. Come tomorrow morning, I'm gonna need some water. Water makes up about 60% of your body, clears away toxins, brings nutrients to your cells. In After Earth, Katai Rage, played by Jaden Smith, has a filtration system built right into his life suit. You wouldn't be that lucky. After 24 hours, you'd feel the symptoms of dehydration, dizziness, weakness, confusion. Your first order of business in a survival situation is to secure water. Just because water looks clear and clean doesn't mean it's safe to drink. And this sludge is definitely not safe to drink. But I could gather it up and purify it the modern way. Chemicals, water purification tablets, iodine pills, even chlorine bleach. It's not a bad idea to carry treatment like that with you when you travel through the wilderness. But what happens if I can't even find water this good? How do I make my own water? Well, this is some of that sludge water. Without chemicals, I can't treat it and make it drinkable. If I could get a fire going, I could boil it and drink it then. That'd be one of the easy ways. But I can still extract clean, fresh drinking water from it. I can distill it. If I didn't have this water, I could even use my own urine and distill that as well. Last thing I want to do is drink my own pee. It's full of toxins. That's the whole point of urinating, is to get toxins out of your body. You ingest all those toxins in a concentrated form back into your body. It's bad news in a survival situation. But you can still use your own pee by distilling it and get a clean drink of water. First, you got to dig a hole. This is about all I need. A hole maybe big enough to put a soccer ball in. All I want to do is saturate this hole with the bad water. Try to create some good water. Now, it's easy enough to understand that this could either be your own urine, this kind of bad water. Next step is getting a receptacle. In this case, this old plastic bottle will do just fine. So I'm just going to put it down in the hole like that. In most survival situations, I always like to carry with me some plastic. Usually I have a garbage bag in my pocket, but it can be a shopping bag, it can be a piece of saran wrap that was around a bagel that you brought out with you. Plastic in a survival situation, ironically, is a very handy thing. This goes across the top of the hole. I don't want to disturb the receptacle down there. I leave that sitting there. I want to make sure it's weighted down. Usually the sand or whatever you pulled out of the hole will work well for that. What I need to do is create a lot of heat inside this hole. I want every little bit of moisture that begins to evaporate from the sand below to come up, hit this plastic. I'm going to make an indentation so the plastic points down into the cup, and like a little V, the moisture comes up, hits the plastic, drips down, goes into the cup. And with any luck at all, in a few hours, so long as the sun stays out, I've taken care of dehydration. Next is dinner. In the movie After Earth, Katai Rage, played by Jaden Smith, is lucky enough to have nutritional supplements. That's not always going to be the case in a survival situation. So when you have to go out in search of food, one of the best places to look is near water. Good thing about water is that's usually where you find a wide variety of edible wild plants. Well, if I'm lucky, this is cattail, edible. If I'm not, it's blue flag, poisonous. That's one way to find out. It's real simple. First test, rub it on my skin. Just pick a spot, rub there. Now I'd stop and I'd wait a few hours. Does it rash up? Does it burn? Does it bubble the skin? Anything like that, stay away from it. Step number 2, try the same thing on your lips. It's a little rub, and then wait. Feel for the burn, feel for sting, any kind of problem at all that hits those lips, stay away from it. Step number 3, little nibble, but don't swallow. Get it around in your mouth and spit it out. Wait, 12 hours at least. Half a day, 12 hours, maybe even longer. See if you start to feel sick at all, if your mouth burns, anything like that, don't eat it. And step number 4, finally, just take a very small bit, chew it up, swallow. Now you want to wait a good 24 hours. See if you get stomach problems, burning in your mouth, any kind of sensation or problem at all that scares you off, stop. Don't eat anymore. After that, if everything's good and everything's fine, you're probably okay to eat it. The beauty of this test is you can use it on any kind of plant or berry, roots, tubers, bark, what have you. But it's an important test to do. You don't want to eat anything that's poisonous. Now, with some food in my stomach, I can navigate out of here.